Welcome back to AV8 Alaska. I've had some issues with recording and audio over the last couple of days, so this is just my stab at it. Over the weekend, I was able to attend the Great Alaska Aviation Gathering that was held in Palmer, Alaska, which was sponsored by the Alaska Airmen's Association. And I also attended the Rusty Pilot Seminar, which was sponsored by the Alaska Airmen's Association and AOPA. They brought Brian Schaffer up, and he presented some information, did a 3-hour ground school, and then some other information was provided by the FAA. So here's a look at that.
Area forecast and METARs and TAFs is, again, we're conforming with ICAO, International Civil Aviation Organization. Basically, all the countries are using the same terms. But when I started at the airlines 33 years ago, they were using METARs and TAFs in Europe and in Canada. And now the United States has gone from hourly reports and terminal forecasts to METARs and TAFs as well. So on this one,
So the Rusty Pilot's course was excellent, and even though I'd already completed my flight review, it was great information, and it was awesome to meet Brian and talk with him a little bit about my story, and he was gracious enough to let me post a little snippet of the class. During the Rusty Pilot Seminar, Andrew McClure from the FAA Alaska Flight Service presented on some new options that are available here in Alaska, and that is the ability to utilize the satellite devices to text the flight service station to close and open flight plans, and this rest of the video will explain that.
We're just starting. I think we've been doing it, what, Tom, 2 weeks? Yeah. Tom, George, Adam White were the first 2 people that got to use it in real life. What we're doing now is allowing texting from devices that are qualified, or soon will be qualified, through the ESRS program. And does anyone in here not know what ESRS is? Okay. ESRS is something that Tom and Adam helped us with over, what was it, 6, 7, 8 years ago now? Something like that. In order to attach a satellite tracking device, such as Spot, Spider Tracks, Garmin InReach, or now Track Plus as well, and you can attach that to your flight plan. If you're going out into the distant parts of the state here, we're not watching you every step of the way. We're not flight following. But if you don't show up where you said you were going on your flight plan, we can go instantly to the track that you left behind you with the satellite tracking device and figure out where the last little breadcrumb is. That allows us and you to get home a whole lot quicker. If you look at a normal flight plan, say from here to Sleepmute, because you have a little mining claim somewhere near Sleepmute, and you don't show up, we start search and rescue. The known track, 50 miles each side of that, and 50 miles past your destination is now the search area. It can very rapidly become 10,000 square miles. It takes a long time, even for the Air Force in a C-130, to actually search that whole area. If you've got one of those satellite tracking devices with you, and we know where the last breadcrumb is, you've just narrowed the search area to probably 25 square miles. Guess who's getting home quicker? 25 square miles or 10,000 square miles? So, it's a really good idea. If you don't have a master flight plan yet with flight service, I strongly recommend you get one. We've got some of the forms in the back of the room here where you can sign up if you're not already in there. But if you do have a master flight plan, it's time to update it, because we're doing the two-way texting thing now. We have currently, we're taking kind of baby steps into this. We've got it cleared for cell phone coverage and for spot. We're working on getting the inReach and the Spider Tracks and the Track Plus coordinated so we can get past the little technical hoops and jumps. And that'll allow us, basically, once we get those 3 devices added in, there will no longer be any communication gaps between you and flight service in the entire state. And if that's not a huge jump, I don't know what is. So, anybody here go out to their favorite camping spot with their aircraft, or go into a little lake, even up in the Kenai Peninsula somewhere where you got no radio coverage whatsoever? Anybody ever do that? There you go, a few of you. And probably looks something like that. If we don't have what we call an RCO, radio communication outlet, that ties into flight service, somewhere in that valley, which we don't cover all the valleys in Alaska by a long shot, then now you're on a flight plan, you fly into your campsite, and you can close your flight plan using a texting device. You send a text to flight service, you will get a specific to your aircraft Roger saying, yes, your flight plan is closed. If you file a return leg before you head out there, you can now text us when you're ready to take off and say, activate my flight plan from somewhere in the middle of Remoteville there back to home base. And we will roger your activation of the flight plan. If you're flying along and maybe you get a little bit of a headwind and you're not going quite as fast as you thought you would across the ground, you can extend the ETA on your flight plan with a texting device, which is cool. We hope to expand the program little by little and do some more services as well, but those are where we're starting, because those are short little messages. Yeah, the master flight plan is the key to this whole thing, and that's why you need to file an update to your master. Because our system, and the way the software is put together, compares the phone number that you registered with us on the master flight plan with the database. So if we get an incoming message and that phone number, who it's from, matches our database, we get the message. If it's another cell phone, another something that doesn't match what's in our database, we won't even see the message. So that's the way we are preventing spam text messages from getting into our operational computers and screwing the whole thing up. Yeah. Another key feature, if it's been more than 2 years since you have updated or verified at least your master flight plan, we will now be asking for an update and verification. Because it turns out we were getting master flight plans in the system that hadn't been updated in 10 years. But up to now that's been fine, except we kept, if it gets into a search and rescue situation and we call a phone number and the number is dead, or somebody answers who is not connected in any way, shape, or form to that end number, we got nothing. So we're now doing a 2-year cycle on master flight plans in order for it to be usable. We aren't throwing away all the data on that master flight plan if it's been a long time, but we will ask for verification before you can actually use the master flight plan as the basis for whatever you're doing that day. So we can pretty much do that on the fly, but especially with the two-way texting thing now, it's important to get your cellular device or your spot into your master flight plan. There's a new slot at the bottom of the form, and that will get that number into the database. We will send you another message, just like we did when we started the whole ESRS thing, we will send you the instructions how to set up your device so that it will text into the system. So, as I said before, I neglected the first bullet point there. If you have an SOS situation or some emergency message that needs to get through, that's acceptable too. We're not kicking those out of the system. However, for the most part, under normal flying circumstances, which of course everybody in this room is a safe pilot and not going to have an accident, we're doing activation of a flight plan that's already on file with flight service. We're amending flight plans that are already on file with us. Mostly that would be an extension of the ETA or whatever. And closing a flight plan that you have already activated with us. So, this is the baby steps approach. And as we get more capability, especially with the satellite devices, because basically they will text longer messages, but we're still working with the companies, Garmin, Spider Tracks, and Track Plus to get those things integrated into the system. Those three devices that I just mentioned, Garmin, the Spider Tracks, and Track Plus, use Iridium satellites. They are absolutely the best way to go.
So I'm not seeing with 5 sticks.
That was the majority of the information that was shared, and it's very exciting that Alaska has that capability to use those new devices and tools. Thank you for watching, and I wish I would have got more video of the show, but I unfortunately was enjoying some time with my daughters. So thank you for watching, share it with your friends, and look forward to seeing you on our next video.